reading Karl Barth in German. But instead, I found myself in the corner of Pinky's store in Manderson, South Dakota, 7 miles north of Wounded Knee, in the middle of the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation, the poorest county in the United States. I spent the better part of the next 3 years leading high school mission trips at Pine Ridge. And in the morning, after breakfast, we'd clean up and I'd send the kids off in their church vans with their leaders to all different points around the reservation where they would paint homes or fix up someone's trailer or run a vacation Bible school. And after all the kids were dispersed, I would get in my old Ford F-150 and point it back toward Manderson, a little town in the middle of the reservation that's nothing more than about a dozen HUD homes, a few trailers, a post office, and Pinky's store. And I'd drive into the gravel parking lot of Pinky's store, get out of my truck, go inside, pour myself a cup of burned coffee into a little styrofoam cup, and go sit at a wobbly little Formica-covered table in the corner. And there, I would talk to people. I talked to the people Pinky sent my way. A lot of people passing through Manderson on the way down to Pine Ridge or on the way back up to Rapid City. They'd stop in Pinky's store, have a cup of coffee, eat a piece of fry bread, and we'd talk. And I can tell you that those people were interested in a whole different version of Christianity than what I had spent the last 7 years preparing myself for. And occasionally, Pinky would say to me, Tony, the family that was just in here, they couldn't afford their groceries this week, so I put it on your tab, and you can pay me at the end of the week. Tony, there's a wake going on for family down at St. Therese Parish Hall down the road. Here's a pack of Marlboros. You know that tobacco is sacred to us. I want you to go down there and give this pack of Marlboros to the family and pay your respects. I'd say, Pinky, I don't know the family. I'm the only white guy in town. Tony, that's part of being in our community. Time for you to go now. And off I would go. For those 3 years, as I sat at that corner table, drinking coffee and eating fry bread with the Oglala Lakota people who would come through with a 95% unemployment rate, there were a lot of people with a lot of time to sit and talk. They cared nothing for the isms and ologies of Christianity. They've never heard of Karl Barth and never will. But they were incredibly intrigued when we got a chance to talk about God walking on this planet as Jesus of Nazareth. Now look, my friends and I, we've spent the summer traveling the country, telling these stories, talking about our books. And in a lot of ways, each of us is confessing. And this is a confessional for me too, because in no way have I disabused myself of all those proclivities I have for 30,000 feet Christianity. I still read lots of theology. I could still tell you where I stand on all those isms and ologies. I'm about to finish a PhD from one of those ivy-covered places. But I've known ever since those 3 years on Pine Ridge that I need to discipline myself and place myself in the corner of Pinky's store, in the cab of Frank's tractor trailer, with a guy who's been fired repeatedly from being a pastor, who's been excommunicated from a Christian bookstore, with a guy who suffers from depression, whose wife cheated on him, who tried to take his own life, who drives a truck. Because you and I both know it's in the corner of Pinky's store and it's in the cab of Frank's truck. That's where Jesus dwells. We know it. We forget it or we deceive ourselves into forgetting it, but that's where. Now listen, friends, some of you know this. There's a lot of talk today about truth. People are writing books about the truth wars and absolute truth, and we need to reclaim some transcendent, immaterial truth that hovers off in the universe. But when I hear people talk like that, and when I read those books, it doesn't remind me of the truth that's in here. It reminds me of the truth that I've read about in Plato and Socrates, who wrote about truth being an immaterial mind of God that hovers off in the universe with no human fingerprints on it. But that's not the truth in the Bible. In this book, truth walks with Adam in the cool of the day. Truth leads the people through the wilderness as a pillar of cloud by day and a pillar of fire by night. Truth wrestles with Jacob at midnight. Truth whispers in the prophet's ears. Truth visits Mary and comes into her very body. Truth is funneled into a human being, Jesus of Nazareth, who did not hover off in the universe, who didn't even hover an inch or two off the ground when he walked around. No, that was truth with toe jam. That was truth with smelly armpits and truth with lice in his hair, truth with dirt under his fingernails. That was truth who snuck off behind a bush and had a bowel movement every day. Jesus of Nazareth, as proclaimed in the Scriptures, is the down-to-earthiest, nitty-grittiest, real-lifeiest version of truth that has ever been proclaimed on this planet. For Jesus of Nazareth did not say, as do the philosophers, there is a truth. No, Jesus of Nazareth, with dirt under his fingernails, said, I am the truth. Friends, our truth is truth with dirt under its fingernails. Amen.